Hi, and welcome to this next lesson. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at quite an important part in the world of infographics, because normally when we do this, it has to give an aesthetic result that has to be appropriate for the topic we're talking about. We have to keep very close to mind the typography, as it's the first thing the person is going to read, and it has to be something that's pretty appropriate, as I was saying, so that it comes out informative and goes with the aesthetic that you're searching for in your project. Okay, I want to give you guys some information that is going to help you when you're composing your design in itself. And apart from that, well, I know that this can seem quite complicated in the beginning because it's not something that's very common when we're explaining normally, but it's something that's really necessary. I'm going to start discussing this division here, that, well, the types digress depending on their characteristics. We're going to make a small division between sans serif and serif. Sans serif doesn't have those ends that we can see in the serif. They're marked with small blue dots, so you can see the areas that I'm talking about. For example, in the S, we can see the difference in width in the line of the letter. I want to make a small summary in which I want you to keep in mind that the best thing to do is choose a few letters. You also have to make sure that the kind of letter that you want to use doesn't communicate something that you really don't want to say. And you have to keep in mind that you have to choose the size of the letter depending on the format you're going to work on. It's not the same thing if we're working on something digital than if we're going to print it, because it's possible that when you get it in a physical format, the size could change a lot from what you're seeing on a screen and what you could later get on paper. I'm going to start now on some other basic things that you have to keep in mind when making your infographic. We have the headline, the subheadline, and the body. Here is where we would have to make special stress so that we can differentiate these three different areas, as some of them have more importance than others, so they would have to be kept in mind in a hierarchical level. You can't put a headline in a typography that is fine and small. Okay, there are different typographical combinations. As I was saying, choosing 2 is essential. I wouldn't recommend going over that number, as it could aesthetically alter quite a lot the result that we want to get, and it could be more difficult to read. For this reason, for example, these 3 that I've put on the screen are combinations that go quite well together and can be used in your work. As you can see, they are composed mostly with combinations of sans serif and serif. The last thing I would like to see with you on this topic is the choice of fonts, according to the content that you are looking to create. As I was saying before, it's not good to choose the fonts randomly, as it might not have a concordance with the image that you want to transmit. For this reason, I'd like you to keep in mind the examples I gave before so that you can have a little more conscience on what you should or shouldn't use. I'm going to put in a number of examples now so that you can see those different combinations in some images. Here we can see that the image, to me, what it wants to transmit is seriousness, stillness, calmness, something a bit darker, something quite stable. This is why I chose these 2 fonts here that may fit better with the image. As you can see, they could fit perfectly. These, however, break with the aesthetics completely that the image wants to give us. They are in no way combinable because, apart from having a much more hand-drawn, childish style, they just don't combine well. For this reason, I want you to have that importance in mind, with that conscience of what you have to do in your work. If you have any doubts, you can take references off the internet. See you guys in the next lesson. Bye!